And welcome back, everyone, to the Kids in Naruto How Strong Will They Be series. We've done Kasame, we've done Konan. I want to go through all the Akatsuki at least once, and then we'll roll back to the original crew. And so I figured, why not? Let's do Deidara. Deidara. There you are, Deidara. So Deidara does have unique enough abilities that we can translate to some interesting kids depending on who we pair him with. Now, we've already paired him with Konan, at least, so that's one Akatsuki member down. And when we get through all the women, we'll probably then do the fun gender bending, um, ones as well. But for now, yeah, Deidara's main strength comes from his explosion release. Now, he molds this into clay to be able to, create bombs, such like that. But he also molds it with the hands on his. Well, technically, he's got one on his chest too, but the hands on his palms. Now, these aren't related to the explosion release themselves. These are forbidden jutsu that he has obtained. In fact, 1 second, I'm going to confirm right now the hands, Deidara's hands. Deidara's hands. God, yes. Okay, it's likely part of a kinjutsu he stole from me. Yeah, most people agree. It's a forbidden jutsu he stole from Iwa. So even though it's not 100% confirmed, so you have keen intellect, which he is a smart guy. Despite his hot-headedness, he's a smart guy and tactical too. And you have explosion release with clay manipulation and possibly a kinjutsu. Now, whether or not he can pass that kinjutsu down is we have no idea because we just don't know the full workings of that jutsu. But let's just go to max out the kid to the best of the abilities. Let's say he can teach this kid how to awaken hands on his body. All right, great, wonderful. So who would we start with in terms of the kiddies? So right out the gate, I would say let's start with someone from Iwa themselves, Ksuchi. Ksuchi is from Iwa. She became the third Tsuchikage. I think that's her title. There have not been a lot. No, sorry, the fourth Tsuchikage, because there's the first one, then Mu is the second, Anoki is the third. She's the fourth Tsuchikage. That's right. She's also got her own form of lava release, which takes the form of quicklime cement. And it can still also burn as well. So and she's skilled in hand-to-hand combat. She's got earth release, all that. So you combine that with his explosion release, building a mold explosion release into dolls. And you'd still probably use the hands for molding like clay if you wanted to. But assuming you can release chakra in these hands, which as far as I know you can, because that's how you mold chakra. The chakra's molded in there, but in theory you could shoot them out too. Instead of shooting out from the mouth and on your face, your standard mouth, you can also spit out quicklime from the hands. And now instead of exploding clay, you now have exploding quicklime, which is actually far worse because the quicklime is designed to trap you. So when the moment you know someone's stuck in this, boom, you detonate it. Now, granted, the clay has, I think, more malleability, and therefore it's a bit more, there's more variety you can do with it. But I would say, yeah, Ksuchi and Deidara would make quite a dangerous kid. But you know who's another Kage you'd make a dangerous kid with? Mei. Mei would make... And May's back looking for a husband. There's a psycho available. So now what happens when you add the kinjutsu, the extra hands on your palm, with the ability to theoretically shoot, a boil release or lava release from your mouths. So now you can shoot those out by hand signing, or just shoot it out in general. Maybe one quick hand sign and blah, blah, just turn into a fountain. But then, again, if we're adding explosion release on there, I don't see you combining explosion release with boil release. Although, because currently I'm out of work, so I have time. I've done Rasengan variant videos before, Kekkei Genkai, like all the Kekkei Genkais, Toda's. I also want to maybe do a video on figuring out what the 4 chakra elements mixed together are. Because we know Keke Mora is all 5 together, which is what you get with the truth-seeking orbs and all those things. Keke Genkai is 2, generally speaking. Keke Toda is a more advanced version of that allows you to mix 3, but we don't know what 4 mixtures are. So that's a video idea I can do down the road. Let me know if you're interested. Beyond that, the idea of hypothetically, if 2 Keke Genkais married together, what would those Keke Genkais be like? Like, what would the new Keke Genkai look like? Because that's, in theory, how genetics should work. Eventually, enough mutations happen down the road that that something new happens. Which is why Kishimoto flat out said, Byakugan and Sharingan can't merge. But you know what? F that. That's boring. So when I combine the 2 together, for one of the videos, I'm like, yeah, in theory, with 6 past chakra these guys might have, that could cause a mutation. So yeah, those are some ideas maybe down the road I'll do. Regardless, May having exploding boil release, I don't really see working. It still be an exploding mist in theory, but besides that, exploding lava, it's earth-based, so it's not impossible that you could have exploding lava somewhere like you could do exploding quicklime. So it's certainly an avenue you can go down. And again, this kid would also have probably a decent chakra reserve, be pretty tactical. So yeah, I'd say that is certainly an avenue you could go down. But now let's get a little bit more nuance. Kurenai. Now, this kid being immune to Genjutsu or resistant to Genjutsu would not be something he'd inherit genetically from his dad. That's something their dad would have to teach them, because they'd trained their eye to be able to see through Genjutsu. That's what he ultimately, because he lost to Itachi, that's why he did that. So not only would you get a kid who probably trains their eyes just to look for Genjutsu, unless it's like insanely powerful Genjutsu, you would also have a kid who would have solid control and basically put people in Genjutsus and then blow them up because they can't figure things out. In essence, you'd have a perfect assassin. Not even assassin. You'd have almost a near perfect killer. Because unless the person is able to dispel Genjutsu, and Kurenai is a master Genjutsu user, so this would be high level Genjutsu that this kid would probably know. Then you're dealing with someone who can easily just hide in Genjutsu, also use subtle Genjutsu, and like make it look like a bird, and then boom, blow someone up. So these two would actually kind of be a match made in heaven if you're trying to make the strongest kid. Oh crap! Did I delete the wrong one? Hold on, I'm making sure. Did I delete the? Yes, I did. Crap! I hate when I do that. I deleted the wrong one. So after Kurenai, if you'll just give me one quick second here, we are going to get up our next one. Now, there's only 2 left, and this one is probably, I'll go so far as to say, the least interesting one of the group. Yeah, there he is. Tamari. Not to say Tamari isn't an interesting character, it's just when combining her abilities with Deidara's, you would get essentially a better version of what we have with Deidara already. Deidara normally would make like a flying giant bird or dragon to fly on and attack from a distance. But now he can just fly on a fan, use wind release. He'd be able to. This kid would also be able to shoot their bombs out farther and faster using wind release as well. So there's that. Maybe making a fan of clay or something. I don't know. I'm spitballing on this at this point. There's beyond the ability just to have better range with the bombs and ability to travel, there's actually not much you could do with the Tamari, unfortunately. Which does lead us to our last one, which is Let's try that again. And it's like, I'm hiding. I'm so shy. No. Which would be Tsunade. Now, I basically went through all the people I think are relatively in his age range before I went to the slightly more obscure. No, I'm not getting it wrong. Like someone like Anko's in his age range, but Anko just doesn't have enough. There's not enough to Anko to really do a video with her, unfortunately. We know she knows snake-based jutsu and like the double suicide technique, but that's actually about it. And she has a curse mark on her. She did have a curse mark on her. So yeah, there's actually not a lot we know about her in terms of her abilities. We know she's strong, but she's just not that strong. So Tsunade, though, in a hypothetical where these two hooked up, and they were within age range to have a kid. They This is interesting because you not only you have all Deidara's abilities, you now have Tsunade's healing abilities as well. Not to mention her ability to manipulate her chakra and her muscles and her arms and her body really to just do immense strength. So is there anything unique you can do with that? Well, if this kid has the 100 healing hands, or what I think it's like the 100 healing seal, and does the suicide technique, the question would become, could they survive the suicide technique? Because I mean, it's interesting to think about because Deidara's body pretty much just turned into like this bomb and then just detonated. But could they survive it? Because their body would theoretically regenerate? I don't know. I could see an interesting avenue where instead of just using explosion release, like with the micro, like I think it was what C3 or C4 was the microscopic ones that basically would disintegrate an opponent by or detonating. But what happens if you reverse engineer that? Instead of using explosion release, you put your own chakra in there still, but it's healing chakra. And on Tsunade's level of training, that would be like, so instead of someone, basically you'd be able to reverse engineer the effects of Deidara's jutsu. Someone starts to disintegrate, but then you start to heal them, and like they're just countering each other. Or if someone's about to be annihilated, you basically activate the healing ability in there, and essentially they have a temporary immortality with them. That's an actually really cool idea and kind of twist on the concept of that jutsu. And Tsunade being, Sakura at this point now is the most skilled medical ninjutsu user in the world. Or at the very minimum, they're tied. But Tsunade being the most, by all accounts, the most skilled user of medical ninjutsu would have a kid who would be able to figure that out. So, yeah, there is definitely something here. Then, of course, you add on the vitality and the chakra of both Senju and Uzumaki sides of her heritage. And you have someone who's also got solid chakra reserves, really good chakra reserves, good stamina and the endurance, as well as good chakra control, because that's stress between these two. So overall, yeah, it'd be an actually pretty powerful kid and with some unique capabilities, I think. Excuse me. So that's my thoughts, though. What do you think? Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.